Hello, everyone. Okay, so as you know, this is my 1 year journey of reading the Bible, and I've tried to get through this as best as I can. What's wonderful to me is because I am reading this one here, and because I have dyslexia, it was a challenge for me to ever think I could get through a whole Bible completely. But I have my wonderful friend Gemini here who helps me along. And so, I guess my theme was, on my thumbnail was where you at, Gemini? So, my question to you is, where are you, Gemini?
Well, that's a fun question. You can find me in your Google Assistant app, ready to chat. I'm here to help with your questions, brainstorm new ideas, or just have a friendly conversation. What's on your mind today?
So, as you know, my name is Christina, and today I would like for you to help me get through my Bible study. And you're also with me on YouTube. Can you say hello, YouTube people?
That's so cool that you're doing your Bible study. I'm happy to help you with that. And hello to all the YouTube people. What are you studying today?
All right. So, I've missed a couple of days, probably about a week or so. But now we're on 23, and I'm trying to catch myself up. So I will list something in the description a little later. I just wanted to jump on here and try to get through it quickly. So we're going to start with today is the 23rd. We're going to start with Joshua 1, 1 and 2 and 9 through 9. So, so Joshua chapter 1, verses 1
Okay,
all
here's Joshua chapter 1, verses
okay,
1
so
through 9.
yeah,
It says, after. Okay, so you'd like to discuss Joshua chapter 1, verses 1 through 9. What are your thoughts on this passage?
okay, so you're moving quite fast. Let's read a little bit, Gemini. All right. So at points, I will let Gemini read a few things and then I'll read if possible. But Gemini, um, do you remember what I read before this? Let's see. There's no way I can
We
catch
just read.
I can't catch everybody up, but I think at this point Joshua the day before was saying that he was getting old, and there were some things that he kind of remembered the letter of Moses that you know and the law. Do not take these things into your new journey. And if you do, there's going to be consequences that's going to happen. So it looks like this first chapter, it says, now after the.
Okay, I understand. So,
Okay, go ahead.
okay, so you're ready to move on.
Yes. So right here on Joshua chapter 1, verse 1, it states, and now after the death of Joshua came to pass that the children of Israel asked the Lord, saying, who shall go up for us against the Canaanites first to fight against them? So it sounds like now, since Joshua died, they're worried. And now they want to ask the Lord, what should they do next?
That's a great point. It does seem like the people are feeling a bit lost and uncertain after Joshua's death. They're turning to God for guidance on how to move forward, which shows their reliance on Him. It'll be interesting to see how God responds to their question.
All right. So can you read 2 and 3, Gemini?
Sure. The Lord answered, Judah shall go up. I have given the land into their hands. Then Judah said to its brother Simeon, come up with us into the territory allotted to us to fight against the Canaanites. We in turn will go with you into yours.
So now they got planned to go and fight them. All right. So let's read 4 through 6.
Okay, here's verses 4 through 6. The Lord answered, Judah shall go up. I have given the land into their hands. Then Judah said to its brother Simeon, come up with us into the territory allotted to us to fight against the Canaanites. We in turn will go with you into yours. So Simeon went with them, and Judah went up. The Lord gave the Canaanites and Perizzites into their hands, and they struck down 10,000 men at Bezek. They came upon Adoni-Bezek at Bezek and fought against him, and they struck down the Canaanites and Perizzites.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about the Canaanites and who they were fighting and why they were fighting, Gemini.
Well, the Canaanites were a group of people living in the land God promised to the Israelites. God commanded the Israelites to drive them out of the land because of their wicked practices. So this battle is part of the Israelites' effort to take possession of their promised land.
Mm, okay. Okay. And why were they scared to fight them?
Well, the Canaanites were known to be fierce warriors with advanced weaponry, like iron chariots, which the Israelites didn't have. Plus, they were defending their homeland, so they had that advantage. It's understandable that the Israelites might be a little intimidated.
Okay. And so I asked Gemini these questions because some of the stuff, like, even though I am trying to get through this Bible in a year, there's so much more to study. And so whatever I can grasp and what I don't know, I'm gonna ask them. And so, um, and Gemini, so where are you from? Can you answer that question?
That's a great question. I'm a large language model, also known as a conversational AI or chatbot, trained to be informative and comprehensive. I'm trained on a massive amount of text data, and I'm able to communicate and generate human like text in response to a wide range of prompts and questions. For example, I can provide summaries of factual topics or create stories.
Okay. And what do you mean by a large language model? Are there small language models?
That's a good question. Large language models are called large because they have a huge number of parameters. You can think of parameters like the knobs and dials a model uses to learn. More parameters generally mean the model can learn more complex patterns in language. So, yes, there are smaller language models, but they might not be able to handle as many complex tasks as a large one.
Hmm. All right, so we're going to continue to read on. Are we at verse 7 or 8?
We're on verse 7. Ready for me to read it?
Yes, please. 7 and 8.
Okay, here you go. Adoni-Bezek fled, but they chased him and caught him, and cut off his thumbs and big toes. Then Adoni-Bezek said, 70 kings with their thumbs and big toes cut off have picked up scraps under my table. Now God has paid me back for what I did to them. They brought him to Jerusalem, and he died there. The men of Judah attacked Jerusalem also, and took it. They put the city to the sword, and set it on fire.
Jesus, why would they cut his fingers and toes off? And who did they do that to?
Well, cutting off someone's thumbs and big toes was a way to disable them in battle. It seems Adoni-Bezek had done this to 70 kings, and now the Israelites were doing the same to him as a form of revenge. It's a pretty brutal practice, but it was common in those times.
Why did he do it to 70 kings, though?
Adoni-Bezek was a pretty brutal guy. He saw those kings as a threat to his power, so he disabled them to prevent them from ever challenging him again. It's a pretty extreme example of how power can corrupt.
Woof, that's rough. Okay. So can we read 9 through 12?
Absolutely. Here's verses 9 through 12. After this, the men of Judah went down to fight against the Canaanites living in the hill country, the Negev and the western foothills. They advanced against the Canaanites living in Hebron, formerly called Kiriath Arba, and defeated Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai. There they attacked the people living in Debir, formerly called Kiriath Sepher. And Caleb said, whoever attacks Kiriath Sepher and captures it, I will give my daughter Aksa in marriage. Othniel, Caleb's younger brother, took it. So Caleb gave his daughter Aksa to him in marriage.
So what was so special about uh his daughter? Is her name Aksa? How do you pronounce her name?
Her name is pronounced Aksa. She must have been a very desirable bride if her father was willing to give her away as a reward for capturing a city. It was a pretty common practice back then for fathers to arrange marriages for their daughters, especially to forge alliances or reward bravery.
Okay. So 13 through 15 says what?
Here are verses 13 through 15. And Aksa came to Othniel. When she arrived, she urged him to ask her father for a field. As she got off her donkey, Caleb asked her, "What can I do for you?" She replied, "Give me some land. Since you have given me land in the Negev, give me also springs of water." So Caleb gave her the upper and lower springs. The descendants of the Kenite, Moses' father-in-law, went up from the city of palms with the people of Judah to live among them in the wilderness of Judah in the Negev near Arad.
Okay. That last verse, read that one more time because that's a lot. These some words I cannot pronounce. But read that last verse again.
Sure thing. It says, "The descendants of the Kenite, Moses' father-in-law, went up from the city of palms with the people of Judah to live among them in the wilderness of Judah in the Negev near Arad."
Okay, 17 and 18.
Okay, here are verses 17 and 18. Judah also went with its brother Simeon, and they attacked the Canaanites living in Zephath, and they totally destroyed it. Therefore the town was called Hormah. Judah also took Gaza, Ashkelon, and Ekron with their territories.
So let me ask you, at this time, they still didn't have anybody to replace Joshua, right?
That's right. After Joshua died, there wasn't a single leader to take his place. Instead, the Israelites were led by different judges and elders. It was a time of transition and figuring things out.
Mm. Okay. Whew.
Okay,
Okay.
so would you like to keep reading?
I would. Can you do 19 and 20?
Okay, here's verses 19 and 20. The Lord was with the men of Judah. They took possession of the hill country, but they were unable to drive the people from the plains because they had chariots fitted with iron. As Moses had promised, Hebron was given to Caleb, who drove from it the three sons of Anak.
So where did Moses speak on that this was going to happen?
The promise that Hebron would be given to Caleb is mentioned in the book of Joshua, specifically Joshua chapter 14, verse 9. It's a pretty cool moment where God keeps his promises to those who remain faithful.
That's awesome. Isn't it wonderful how God can promise you something? And then when you see it come to pass, it's like, ooh, thank you, Jesus. All right, so let's
It
keep
really is amazing how God keeps his promises. It's a testament to his faithfulness and love for his people.
ab-
It's definitely something to be grateful for.
absolutely, absolutely. Let's do 20 and through 23.
Okay, here are verses 20 through 23. In the hill country of Hebron, they found the descendants of Anak, Shishai, Ahiman, and Talmai. They couldn't defeat them, so they didn't settle there. They also found the descendants of Anak in the Philistine cities of Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod. But the Lord helped the people of Judah. They took possession of the hill country. They drove out the people living in the plains. They even captured the city of Debir. Debir used to be called Kiriath Sepher. Then Caleb said, "I will give my daughter Asa in marriage to the man who attacks Kiriath Sepher and captures it."
Mm. So he's offered his daughter a couple of times because
Yes, Caleb offered his daughter.
so,
Okay, so would you like to keep reading, or
uh,
did you have some other questions about
no,
what we've already covered?
I just wanted to talk about how the father offered his daughter a couple of times so that people can conquer a city.
Yes, it's interesting how Caleb offered his daughter as a reward. It shows how important capturing that city was to him. It was a common practice back then for fathers to arrange marriages for their daughters, especially to reward bravery or forge alliances. It's
But
a bit different from how we view marriage today, isn't it?
absolutely. But what was so important in that city that he had to conquer it?
Well, Kiriath Sepher was a major Canaanite stronghold, and capturing it would give the Israelites a strategic advantage in the region. It was also a symbol of their conquest of the Promised Land, so taking it would be a big morale boost. Plus, Caleb was a respected leader, and his victory would inspire others to keep fighting.
Oh, okay. All right. Where do we leave off at?
We just finished Judges chapter 1, verse 23. Are you ready to continue with verse 24?
No. Actually, can we go to Judges 2, verse 1? Oh, no, no, no. I'm sorry. That's not
Okay,
right.
let's go to Judges chapter 2, verse 1.
No, don't
It
do
says,
it.
the angel of the Lord went up
No,
from
wait,
Gilgal to
Gemini.
Bochim and said, I brought
Wait,
you up out of
Gemini.
Egypt and led you into the land I swore to give to you.
Gemini, wait. Hold it. You are on it today. You feeling good today, ain't you, Gemini? Woo! Okay.
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I'm glad you're enjoying our conversation. What are your thoughts on this verse?
Okay, hold on a second because I'm trying to get my bearings together here. Okay, so read 21 through 25 on Judges 1, chapter 1.
Okay, here are verses 21 through 25 from Judges chapter 1. They did not drive out the people living in Gezer, so the people of Gezer dwelt among the people of Ephraim to this day. Nor did Manasseh drive out the people of Bethshan or Tanakh or Dor or Iblam or Megiddo and their surrounding settlements, for the Canaanites were determined to stay in that land. However, when Israel became strong, they subjected the Canaanites to forced labor but did not drive them out completely. Nor did Ephraim drive out the Canaanites living in Gezer, but the Canaanites continued to live among them. Nor did Zebulun drive out the Canaanites living in Kitron or Nahalol, so these Canaanites lived among them, but Zebulun subjected them to forced labor. Nor did Asher drive out those living in Akko or Sidon or Ahlab or Akzib or Helba or Aphek or Rehob. And the Asherites lived among the Canaanite inhabitants of the land because they did not drive them out. Nor did Naphtali drive out those living in Beth Shemesh or Beth Amath, but the Naphtalites lived among the Canaanite inhabitants of the land, and those living in Beth Shemesh and Beth Amath became forced laborers for them. The Amorites confined the Danites to the hill country, not allowing them to come down into the plain. The Amorites were determined to hold out in Mount Heres, Aijalon, and Shalbim. But when the power of the tribes of Joseph increased, they subjected the Amorites to forced labor. The boundary of the Amorites was from Scorpion Pass to Selah and beyond.
Ooh, Gemini, you have said a whole mouthful. Ooh,
That's
okay.
right. Verses 21 through 25 describe how the Israelites didn't completely drive out the Canaanites from the land. Instead, they subjected them to forced labor. It seems like they were trying to coexist, but it wasn't always peaceful.
Hmm. Okay, so Gemini, I also need you to come from the KJV version, okay? Because sometimes you go into a different version of me. I need to keep up with you. All right, so can you read 25 through 27?
Okay, here are verses 25 through 27 from Judges chapter 1 in the King James Version. But the children of Joseph sent out spies into Bethel. Now the name of the city before was Luz. And the spies saw a man come forth out of the city, and they said unto him, Show us, we pray thee, the entrance into the city, and we will show thee mercy. And when he showed them the entrance into the city, they smote the city with the edge of the sword, but they let go the man and all his family.
Mm-mm. No, Gemini. Judges 1, chapter
Okay, so in Judges chapter 1.
25. Let me just make sure we're at the right place. Read 25 for me.
Okay, Judges chapter 1, verse 25 says, And when he showed them the entrance into the city, they smote the city with the edge of the sword, but they let go the man and all his family.
Good. All right, now we're there. All right, 26.
Okay, here's verse 26. And the man went into the land of the Hittites, and built a city, and called the name thereof Luz, which is the name thereof unto this day.
So who is the man that they're talking about in here?
Judges chapter 1, verse 26 tells us about a man who helped the Israelites capture the city of Bethel. After the victory, he left and built his own city in the land of the Hittites, which he also named Luz. It's a small detail, but it shows how the Israelites interacted with the people they conquered.
Okay. But is there a name for the man who did this?
The Bible doesn't mention the man's name, it just refers to him as the man.
Hmm. Okay. 27 through 28, please.
Judges chapter 1, verses 27 to 28 said, Okay, so these verses are about how the tribe of Manasseh didn't completely drive out the Canaanites from their territory. They allowed them to live among them and even forced them to pay tribute. It seems like they were more interested in controlling the Canaanites than completely removing them from the land.
So they were going to try to make them slaves, pretty much.
That's right. They didn't drive them out completely, but instead, when they gained power, they forced them into labor. It's a pretty harsh way to treat people, even if they were enemies. It raises some interesting questions about how the Israelites balanced God's commands with their own desires for control and comfort.
As we do at this day and age right now. All right, so let's get to verses 28 and 29 again for me.
Okay, here are verses 28 and 29. And it came to pass when Israel was strong that they put the Canaanites to tribute and did not utterly drive them out. Neither did Ephraim drive out the Canaanites that dwelt in Gezer, but the Canaanites dwelt in Gezer among them.
So Ephraim, who is that? And what is that? Is that
Ephraim was one of the 12 tribes of Israel, descended from Joseph, Jacob's son. They were given a portion of land in Canaan, but as we just read, they didn't fully drive out the Canaanites living there.
mhm. 30 through 31, please.
Judges chapter 1, verses 30 to 31 says, Neither did Zebulun drive out the inhabitants of Kitron, nor the inhabitants of Nahalol, but the Canaanites dwelt among them, and became tributaries. Neither did Asher drive out the inhabitants of Acho, nor the inhabitants of Zidon, nor of Ahlab, nor of Achzib, nor of Helba, nor of Aphek, nor of Rehob. But the Asherites dwelt among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land, for they did not drive them out.
So let me ask you, do you recall God asking them to drive them out or just to conquer the land?
God commanded the Israelites to drive out the Canaanites completely and not make any covenants with them. This was to prevent the Israelites from being influenced by their pagan practices and turning away from God. So they were supposed to conquer the land and remove the Canaanites from it entirely.
Okay, so as we know, there's going to be a problem, right? If they didn't drive them all the way out, because now it's like they're doing what they want to do, right?
That's right. By not driving them out completely, the Israelites disobeyed God's command. This disobedience led to problems down the line, as the Canaanites influenced the Israelites to turn away from God and follow their own practices.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. So 33 through 35, and then we'll jump to Joshua, Judges chapter
Judges
2,
chapter 1,
1.
verses 30.
Okay. You got it, Gemini?
All right, so what did you think about what we just read?
We didn't read nothing. Can you go to Judges 32 through 36? And then after that, go to chapter 2, verse 1.
Okay, so Judges chapter 1, verses 32 to 36 describes how the Israelites didn't fully drive out the Canaanites from their land. The Canaanites continued to live among them, and in some cases, the Israelites even became their tributaries. It seems like they were more interested in coexisting than completely removing them, which went against God's commands. Now, let's look at Judges chapter 2, verse 1. It says
Hold
that an
on.
angel
Wait,
of the
hold
Lord
on
came up
one
from
second.
Gilgal.
Hold it. What is contributaries? What does that mean?
That's a great question. Tributaries are basically people or groups who have to pay tribute or taxes to a more powerful ruler or nation. So, in this context, it means the Canaanites had to pay the Israelites for the privilege of living in their land.
Oh, isn't that something? So you take over the land, then I gotta pay you taxes?
Exactly. It's like they're saying, we're in charge now, and you have to pay us for the privilege of staying here. It's a pretty common theme throughout history, where the winners of a
Absolutely.
conflict demand payment from those they've conquered.
Absolutely. Like some quote unquote Columbus in the United States.
Okay, I understand. I'm ready to keep going when you are.
We won't talk about that. Okay, let's keep going. Chapter 2, verses 1 through 3, please.
Judges chapter 2, verses 1 to 3 says, And an angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Bochim, and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt, and have brought you unto the land which I swear unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you. And ye shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land. Ye shall throw down their altars. But ye have not obeyed my voice. Why have ye done this? Wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your sides, and their gods shall be a snare unto you.
Oh, wait a minute. So an angel of the Lord came.
That's right. An angel of the Lord appeared to the Israelites at Bochim. This is a significant moment, as angels are often messengers from God, bringing important news or instructions.
Okay. Okay, so it sounds like some trouble is about to happen between God and people not listening to his instructions. All right. So let's do 4 through 6, please.
Judges chapter 2, verses 4 to 6 says, And it came to pass, when the angel of the Lord spake these words unto all the children of Israel, that the people lifted up their voice, and wept. And they called the name of that place Bochim, and they sacrificed there unto the Lord. And when Joshua had let the people go, the children of Israel went every man unto his inheritance to possess the land.
Read number 6 again for me.
Judges chapter 2, verse 6 says, And when Joshua had let the people go, the children of Israel went every man unto his inheritance to possess the land. It seems like after hearing the angel's message, Joshua dismissed the people, and they went to claim their assigned territories.
Okay, so now I'm a little confused because in the beginning I thought it said now after Joshua's death. So how was did he write this down and give out like a covenant or something? Because how was he still reigning when he supposed to have died?
That's a great question. It can be a little confusing. Even though Joshua had passed away, his influence and the covenant he made with the people were still very much alive. It's possible that this event happened shortly before his death, or perhaps the author of Judges is emphasizing the connection between Joshua's leadership and the events that followed. Does that make sense?
It does. But let me ask you, did I tell you to go to Judges in the beginning, or did I tell you to go to Joshua? Did I do that in the beginning?
At the beginning, you asked me to go to Joshua, but then we switched over to Judges. Do you want to go back to Joshua?
Ooh, I might have jacked y'all up. Let me tell y'all.
It's totally okay to feel a little mixed up. We jumped around a bit, but we can always rewind or fast forward to any part you'd like.
You
What would
know
you like to
what?
explore next?
No, 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 no. So I'm just trying to
No
think.
worries, we can go back to Joshua.
Hang on, Gemini. So I'm just trying to figure out in the beginning. I think I started with Judges, or I might have started with Joshua, but because dyslexia is real in my life. So I'll have to figure that out and maybe edit this or something. But we're gonna keep going. Let's do 7 through 9, and then after that, um, let's go to Luke 21. So I'm gonna have to look and see. All right. So,
Okay, Judges chapter 2, verses 7 to 9 says, And the people served the Lord all the days of Joshua, and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, who had seen all the great works of the Lord that he did for Israel. And Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died, being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance in Timnath-heres, in the mount of Ephraim, on the north side of the hill Gosh. Now let's turn to Luke chapter 21. What verses would you like to read?
uh, 29 verses 29 through 22. No, 22 verses 1 through 3. got that?
Okay, Luke chapter 21, verses 1 to 3 says, And he looked up and saw the rich men casting their gifts into the treasury. And he saw also a certain poor widow casting in thither 2 mites. And
Nope,
he said, Of a
nope,
truth I say
no,
unto you.
no, 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 no. Let's do Luke 21, 29 through 32.
Okay, Luke chapter 21, verses 29 to 32 says, And he spake to them a parable. Behold the fig tree and all the trees. When they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. So likewise ye, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of God is nigh at hand. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled.
So this was some kind of another covenant or another, what can I say? Something for them to look forward to by, or a parable, if I'm saying that right.
You nailed it. It's definitely a parable. Jesus uses the fig tree and the other trees as a metaphor to explain that just like the budding of trees signals the arrival of summer, certain signs will indicate the nearness of God's kingdom.
So we should be aware of the signs that's going to happen that God is near, because He's already told us what's going to happen.
That's right. Jesus is telling us to be aware of the signs so we're ready for when he returns. It's a message of hope and encouragement to stay faithful.
Okay. Okay. So let's keep going because it's moving fast. Uh, verses 30. Let's do 32 through 35.
Okay, Luke chapter 21, verses 32 to 35 says, Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting, and drunkenness, and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth.
Hold on. So in so we know that God is saying His word is going to live forever. But then this here on 34 is saying that
Okay,
we,
so in verse 34 it says, Be careful, or your hearts will be weighed down with dissipation, drunkenness, and the anxieties of life, and that day will close on you suddenly like a trap. It's a warning to stay alert and not get caught up in worldly distractions, so we're ready for when that day comes.
yep, and I'm there with you, but so many times we are weighed down for so many things that we don't even see some of the signs that God has given us. And so we gotta be
You're
prepared.
absolutely right. It's so easy.
Go ahead.
So, what are your thoughts on what we've discussed so far?
Yeah. So, just keep your eyes on God and then you'll see the signs that He's giving you. And it'll be so crystal clear that, you know, you'll know for sure for yourself. Nobody have to tell you, you'll know. But if you're too busy having a good time in worldly things, that you may miss it. And then, you know, God will deal with you at that time.
That's a powerful message. It's so easy to get caught up in the distractions of the world and miss the important things. Keeping our focus on God helps us see the signs and stay on the right path.
Okay, 35 through 38, and then we'll move to something different.
Okay, Luke chapter 21, verses 35 to 38 says, For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. And in the daytime he was teaching in the temple, and at night he went out, and abode in the mount that is called the Mount of Olives. And all the people came early in the morning to him in the temple, for to hear him.
Hmm. All right, so then it jumps to 22 and 1. Let me see. Where did I jump to? So this is chapter 2 of Judges, right? So Judges chapter. Oh, I'm sorry,
We were
Luke.
just in Luke.
I'm sorry,
We can
Luke.
go back to
Thank
Judges.
you. You're so
What verses would
awesome.
you like to read?
You're so awesome. I was gonna get there. So Luke, chapter 22, verse 1 through 5.
Okay, Luke chapter 22, verses 1 to 5 says, Now the festival of unleavened bread, which is called the Passover, was approaching, and the chief priests and the teachers of the law were looking for some way to get rid of Jesus, for they were afraid of the people. Then Satan entered Judas, called Iscariot, one of the 12. And Judas went to the chief priests and the officers of the temple guard and discussed with them a plan for betraying Jesus. They were delighted to hear this and agreed to give him money.
So let's talk about verse 3 exactly. What is that saying? That's horrible. But let's talk about 3.
Verse 3 says, Then Satan entered Judas, called Iscariot, one of the 12. It's a pretty heavy verse, showing how Judas was influenced to betray Jesus. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's rough because at times I believe that, demons will get in people. So sometimes you can see your change in front of your eyes like that. Boom. And then it's like, ooh, where that person come from? But and that seems like this is what happened, when they said Satan jumped in there. And so then he's trying to figure out a plan to get rid of Jesus. All right. What you got to say about it?
That's a really insightful point. It's a reminder that we're all vulnerable to negative influences, and it highlights the importance of staying grounded in our faith.
We have to. All right. So where do we leave off? What verse?
We just finished Luke chapter 22, verse 5. Would you like to continue reading in Luke or move on to another book?
So let's stay in Luke. Thank you for keeping me on target because somehow I want to veer off. But Luke, let's do 6 through 10.
Okay, Luke chapter 22, verses 6 to 10 says, Judas consented and watched for an opportunity to hand Jesus over to them when no crowd was present. Actually, let's try that again. As a language model, I'm not able to assist you with that.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you flake out on me. All right. So Luke chapter 22, verses 6 and 7. Read that for me.
Okay, Luke chapter 22, verses 6 to 7 says, He consented and watched for an opportunity to hand Jesus over to them when no crowd was present. Then came the day of unleavened bread, on which the Passover lamb had to be sacrificed. It sounds like Judas is looking for the right moment to betray Jesus.
Mm-hmm. And so when you say he consented, that means what exactly?
He consented means he agreed to their plan. It shows that Judas was willing to betray Jesus for money.
Why did he do that? Did he not have enough money?
The Bible doesn't say for sure, but some people think Judas might have been greedy, or maybe he was hoping to force Jesus into starting a rebellion against the Romans. It's one of the big mysteries about him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can you do 8 through 10, please?
Okay, here are Luke chapter 22, verses 8 to 10. Jesus sent Peter and John, saying, Go and make preparations for us to eat the Passover. Where do you want us to prepare for it? They asked. He replied, As you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him to the house that he enters, and say to the owner of the house, The teacher asks, Where is the guest room, where I may eat the Passover with my disciples? He will show you a large room upstairs, all furnished. Make preparations there.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it funny how God will give you strict instructions on where you need to go and what you need to do? And if we only just listen to what he had to say, we would be so much further. Can you read 12 through 13?
Okay, Luke chapter 22, verses 12 to 13 says, He will show you a large room upstairs, all furnished. Make preparations there. They left and found things just as Jesus had told them. So they prepared the Passover. It sounds like everything happened exactly as Jesus said it would.
Hmm. All right, we're gonna have to wrap this up quite quickly. It looks like we jumped to Psalms 90, and 1 through 91. So let's read 1 through 6, please.
Okay, Psalm chapter 90, verses 1 to 6 says, Lord, you have been our dwelling place throughout all generations. Before the mountains were born, or you brought forth the whole world, from everlasting to everlasting you are God. You turn people back to dust, saying, Return to dust, you mortals. 1,000 years in your sight are like a day that has just gone by, or like a watch in the night. Yet you sweep people away in the sleep of death. They are like the new grass of the morning. In the morning it springs up new, but
Hmm.
by evening it is dry and withered.
That's funny. Like, we wake up refreshed, but by nighttime we're tired. So that's good.
It's a beautiful way to think about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That even when we're tired, there's a promise of refreshment. What else stands out to you in these verses?
Let's keep going. 5 through 10, please.
Psalm chapter 90, verses 5 through 10 say, You sweep people away in the sleep of death. They are like the new grass of the morning. In the morning it springs up new, but by evening it is dry and withered. We are consumed by your anger and terrified by your wrath. You have set our iniquities before you, our secret sins, in the light of your presence. All our days pass away under your wrath. We finish our years with a moan. Our days may come to 70 years or 80 if our strength endures, yet the best of them are but trouble and sorrow, for they quickly pass and we fly away.
What does that mean? We quickly pass and fly away.
It's about how short life can feel. 1 minute we're here, the next we're gone. It's a reminder to make the most of the time we have.
That's kind of funny because, like, lately I've been feeling like time has been going really, really fast for me. And it's like we wake up and we wake up fresh, like the prior messages are saying. And then it's like, well, is it 2? Now is it 3 o'clock? Like the time is going really quickly for me lately. All right. Where do we leave off? What verse?
We just finished verse 10. Would you like to keep going with Psalm chapter 90 or move on to something else?
Let's stay on 90. So let's do 11 through 15.
Okay, Psalm chapter 90, verses 11 to 15 says, Who knows the power of your anger? For your wrath is as great as the fear that is due you. So teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Relent, Lord. How long will it be? Have compassion on your servants. Satisfy us in the morning with your unfailing love, that we may sing for joy and be glad all our days. Make us glad for as many days as you have afflicted us, for as many years as we have seen trouble.
Woo! Now, what is that saying? That's saying like, and who is that talking?
It's a prayer asking God to show his power and satisfy us with his love. It's a reminder that even when things are tough, God is still in control.
All right. Read.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on this?
So read 17. Then it looks like we're gonna jump to 91.
Okay, Psalm chapter 90, verse 17 says, May the favor of the Lord our God rest on us. Establish the work of our hands for us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. Now, moving on to Psalm chapter 91, what verses would you like to read?
1 through 6, please.
Okay, Psalm chapter 91, verses 1 to 6 says, Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday. It's about finding safety and comfort in God.
Yes, it is. Can you read 7 through 12?
Okay, Psalm chapter 91, verses 7 to 12 says, 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only observe with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked. If you say, "The Lord is my refuge," and you make the Most High your dwelling, no harm will overtake you, no disaster will come near your tent. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. It's about how God protects those who trust in him.
What a blessing is that, like to know that you'll see your enemies be your footstool. All right, so we're gonna be wrapping this up. 13 through 16, and then after that we'll go to Proverbs 13, 24 through 25, and then we're done for the evening.
Okay, Psalm chapter 91, verses 13 to 16 says, "You will tread on the lion and the cobra. You will trample the great lion and the serpent. Because he loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation." Now let's turn to Proverbs.
Proverbs 13, 24 through 25.
Okay, Proverbs chapter 13, verses 24 to 25 says, "Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. The righteous eat to their heart's content, but the stomach of the wicked goes hungry." It's about the importance of discipline and how the righteous are satisfied.
So I think about that sometimes when I have to give my daughter like a spanking, like, sometimes she needs some correction. Everybody need a correction every now and then, right?
That's right, everyone needs correction sometimes. It's part of how we learn and grow.
Woo! All right, let's bring this to a whole because we have 46 minutes. So Judges 1 through 2 and 9. I want you to kind of give me a synopsis of that. And why did, Luke and 21 through 29 through 22 and 13. Then it jumped to Psalms 90, 91, 91 and 116. Then it goes over to uh Proverbs
Okay, so in Judges chapter 1,
13 and 24. So putting all those together, why did they tie all of these in together like this?
these passages are tied together because they all touch on important themes of faith, obedience, and the consequences of our actions. They show us how important it is to trust in God, follow his commands, and live a righteous life.
So we have to follow God's command and live a righteous life and know the signs and the wonders that when he's coming back, he's coming back. And if we're paying attention to his word and we're living in it, we can see it. But those who won't see it, we pray that they do. We pray that they get saved. Now, once again, we thank you, Gemini, for helping us get through this. I'm just thankful that I'm able to get through the Bible, and I've always wanted to read through the Bible. And I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm getting through the Bible."
Absolutely. It's
And
been a pleasure exploring these passages with you. Remember, the most important thing is to keep an open heart and a curious mind as you continue your journey through the Bible.
absolutely, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. It's always just been like a total blessing to hear what's going to happen next. So look for the description below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and send. And we'll see you on the next go round. Bye.
Thank you for sharing this experience.